today?
Here's what I like this.
How about some review? Who's got questions?
For which question? Which review?
You can review anything you want.
I guess I'm having trouble on the Python of the 5.5, the challenge number 2,
Okay.
for printing a dictionary.
All right. All right. There we go. So, Zybooks. Okay, 5.
5.5.
Yep.
All the way down.
All the way down. Okay. All right. So why don't we start looking at this with going over what a dictionary is? Okay. So let's practice with that also. I love the sound of Starbucks. And could you close the door? Okay. Okay. So to create a dictionary, you can just assign any a variable name and just open brace, close brace. That's an empty dictionary. So if we print what the contents of P is, it's an empty dictionary. So what is a dictionary in Python? A dictionary is, in Python, is called a map in some languages, and it's called a key-value pair in some languages. Both of these are appropriate for explaining dictionaries in Python. So a dictionary in Python maps, you see how these are all related, a key to a value. So, for example, you might have, if let's call D is a dictionary, you can say D ice cream equals vanilla. Okay, let's try that. So I've got D is an empty D is an empty dictionary. So D ice cream, you can even put a space in it, equals vanilla. Okay, and now let's print out what's in D. So notice this interesting syntax, what you're seeing there. Oh, boo-hoo. I don't have my my pointer. What happened to my pointer? Ah, there it is. Oh, okay. So notice this interesting syntax that there's a key colon value. So I can now say D ice cream, and what I get is vanilla. So that's the mapping. I've now mapped ice cream to vanilla. Okay? So where is this useful? Well, this is useful as a means of looking up data. So for instance, we could say Ian is a list of list of strings. You're in sport?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So what's your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate.
Okay. And what's your favorite sport to watch?
Football.
Okay. All right. So now if I wanted to look up information about Ian, I can say, tell me about Ian. And I get another list, which is chocolate and football. So in fact, I could probably do, oh, I spelled chocolate wrong. That's okay. Now, I was on the agenda for today is to talk about lists as well. So we're sort of bouncing around out of order in different subjects. But a dictionary is a key value mapping. You map it. To input a key, you get out a value. Now that value doesn't, as I have in this example here, the value doesn't have to be just one thing. The value could itself be an object made up of other things. So it's like having a database. Right? So if you want, maybe the keys were all social security numbers, and the values were all employee records. So that's what's cool about dictionaries. They give you instant access based upon a key that you can search upon. Okay? All right. So that's the quick introduction to dictionaries. Now let's take a look at 5. All right. Write a loop to print each contact in the contact mails. All right. And I assigned, oh, this was part of the, wait, didn't it say stop before you get here?
So,
No? Okay. All right. Okay. So let's try it out in, let's go into interactive Python and do some prototyping. So let me see, I think I can just hit, let's see, so contact emails, and it worked. All right. So what happens if we try for C in contact emails? What do we get if we just print C? Okay. So that's giving us the keys. So if we put in, write a loop, what do they want? Oh, okay, okay. So we can start our solution with that. We want to enumerate all the entries in each contact. What is the ALF? Sample output with inputs ALF and ALF1. Oh, I see. Okay. So for contact in contact emails, print contact. Now this is not the right solution. Let's just see what it does. Okay. All right. So as before in interactive Python, we got out the keys. But that's not what we want. We want to have the email address, which is the value of each key, and then the key itself. So we could do that. Contact is the key. So what if we did this? You see the difference there? Contact emails is going to be a dictionary with these names, Sue, Mike, Nate, and Alf. So those are the keys. If you feed the key back into contact emails, you'll get the values. So let's see what we get now. Again, this won't be correct, but lo and behold, now I'm getting the emails. So I'm really, really far along to the solution. We will study this in greater detail. This is coming a bit out of order. All right, so now we can do is contact. Run that. All tests passed. Okay, so let's talk about this. I don't know what that did. I tried to make it bigger, but okay. So this for loop is going to enumerate the keys in the dictionary. Then I'm applying each key one at a time to the dictionary to get the value, which is the email. Does this make sense?
I did that first, and then I messed up when I did the correct names.
The correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think it needed it.
The is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought, how normally the other ones didn't have like contact, didn't have it, so I didn't think of that.
Right. Yep. So, but you got to go by what they're there. Yeah.
Mine is saying that contact.
Did you spell it exactly right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, pass it around the room. Make sure it doesn't leave this room. Okay. Well, let's take a look at lesson 3. So if you could shift over on the web to here, to lesson 3. Okay. So you can get this program using the wget, but before you do that, this is kind of a cousin, a simplified version of a dictionary. It just has values, no keys. So this is called a list. So let's start learning about lists. Okay? Now you've seen a list once before, but you might not recall. So an empty list, LST, is made with 2 brackets. So if you type out what is LST, it's 2 empty brackets. Do you remember what the empty dictionary looked like? D equals braces instead of brackets. So LST is a list, and D is a dictionary. And while we're at it, let's just throw in one more. T is a tuple. So you got these 3 containers. 3 containers: list, dictionary, tuple. Let's write down what the differences are. We got list, So that's how you create one. You've got tuple, and then you've got dictionary. Okay. So both of these has just values, and this has keys and values. And what does a list sound like it does? Well, I mean, what is a list? What's a list? It's just a list of things, right? Okay, so let's make a list, actually. So how about LST equals 1999, comma, Carthage. Notice that one's a number, one's a string. And how about a true false? So now if let's do a list, LST, and there it is. Now how would you gain access to the members of the list? Remember, CS people always start counting at 0. So this would be list 0, list 1, list 2. So for instance, if you wanted to get at Carthage, you would say list 1. Okay? You can all try this at your seats. Okay? How many items are in LST? Well, our good friend LEN. LEN, LST, there are 3 items. Okay? Now I'm going to compare that, I'm going to contrast that with a tuple. And I'm going to create a tuple by changing the brackets into parentheses and assigning it to a different name, let's say TUP. And so if I print out tup, there it is. If I do LEN, tup, 3. If I say tup, give me the number 1 entry, that's also with brackets though, unfortunately, you get Carthage. So what's the difference between a tuple and a list? Everything I did with the list, I did with a tuple. The difference is with a list, you're allowed to change the members, and with a tuple, you're not allowed to change the members. So for instance, LST, the first entry, the 0 entry, is equal to, it was 1999, and I'll do this, LST 0 plus 1. What would you expect it to be? 2000 now, right? Okay, let's do that with tup. So far, they've been exactly the same. Okay, but you can't modify the members of a tuple. Yeah.
So is LST just a tuple but better? Does tuple do anything else that LST can't, or is it just?
No, they can do the same things, but they are going to be internally organized differently. The tuples have certain benefits, and lists have certain benefits, but their internal organization is different, permitting one to be modified as side effects of one being modifiable, one being read-only. Yeah.
Could you give us an example of like why you would use one over the other? vice versa? Like why you would use a tuple instead of a list or a list instead of a tuple?
Sometimes it's forced on you. A function might return a list. For example, no, a range returns a range. So sometimes it might be forced upon you. Other times you might be doing it as a matter of choice because access to the tuples will be faster internally, as well as take up less space internally. Those are the ability to modify the list comes at a certain cost and complexity behind the scenes. So you might say to yourself, do I ever need to change one of these things? No. Then you could use a tuple. Do I need to change individual members? Then yes, I need a list. Okay, so lists and tuples are both very important to Python. There's a lot of things that you can do with them. For example, let me create a long list very quickly. So LST, I'm going to overwrite the old one, is equal to make a list out of a range. This is where we saw it before. And that's going to be too many. 20. Okay, so LST, there's my list of 20 things. So you saw how if you want the first one, that's at index 0. And if you want the 10th one, that's at index 9, because we start counting at 0. And let's say you want the 99th one. Notice the error. It says you're out of range, because there aren't 99 members in the list. Okay? How about if you wanted the one from the end? You want to go backwards. How about LST? What happens if you did this? Look at that. So with -1, you got the last one. What would happen if we put in -2? I hope we get 18. Let's find out. See how, so you can index from the front or you can index from the back. How about if you only wanted to, go ahead, Catherine.
I'm just wondering, would it affect the index if you had the range of like an interval, like a negative?
So that the range itself was counting back, that the LST was counting backwards. It wouldn't matter. Let's see. One way to do. I'll show you that. So one way to do that. All right. So LST. So now we're going backwards. Although it didn't include the last one, so to make it exactly the way the other one was, it should have been 19 and stop before you get to -1. Okay, so now it's exactly right, but the same as before, but backwards. So LST -1, which one do you think it'll be? It'll be, so LST, well, if we did LST 0, that'll be the first one, which is 19. So LST -1 is going to be 0. So it makes no reference whatsoever to it doesn't matter what the contents of the list is. -1 means go to the end, and a positive number means from the beginning. A negative number means from the end. Okay? So another thing that you can do with lists and tuples is to slice them. Okay? So what would we get if we said LST 0 to 3 with a colon? You got the first three, 0, 1, and 2. Okay? How about if you put in by ones, I'm sorry, by twos. Why did we get that, folks? What is the addition of the 2? What's the third digit do here?
It skips one.
Skips? Right. So it stopped before you got to index 3, which is the fourth. So index 0, index 1, index 2, stop before you get to index 3. So that's why it's 19 and 17. Okay. And you can also do slices off the rear. So how would it be if I did LST -1 to -5? Oops. Oops, oops. Okay, there's, how do you do the, well, let's figure that one out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 from 6. Okay. Okay, I'm a little rusty on the syntax for slicing backwards, but clearly you can do it. I'll get back to you on that. Okay, so slicing is important. What else can you do with lists? Well, let's see. LST equals an empty list. LST dot, watch what I'm doing here. I'm doing an object name, LST dot, and I'm hitting the tab key twice. So it's showing me choices of functions that work with a list. So for example, append LST. Let's do that again. See, now I'm appending at the end. All right, how about insert? Okay. And all right. Oops. Okay, so I inserted HE at position 1, and it bumped the what was at position 1 over. Okay, so there's lots of things you can do with lists, and everything that you're doing with lists, except modifying individual members, you can do with tuples. So how about just before we did this, range 20 made into a list? Well, we could also do range made into a tuple. And all of the slicing that you could do with the list, you can also do with the tuple. Okay? So with that, let's turn our attention to this program. And you can get it for using that. So I will demonstrate. I'll just open up a terminal. I'm at the command prompt, and I'll paste, and I got it. So Python 3 P2, there. So let's look at that. I'll wait for you to do the wget from your terminal. So lyrics is a list, and the list has all of these strings in it, separated by commas except for the last one. Okay? So if you were to do for line in lyrics, what will you get? This is a for loop, like we've seen before. This is a for loop.
You're good now.
Okay. This is a for loop like we've seen before. So this is going to loop again and again and again once for each item in the list. So LINE will get and a partridge in a pear tree. Next time through the loop, 2 turtle doves. Next time through the loop, 3 French hens. Okay, so that's how this program works. But as you see, it's in ascending order, but the song is in descending order, right? When you sing the song. So what I'd like you to do is together read through this. So here's documentation on slicing and the difference between tuples and such. It's all here, plus in your book. And then what I'd like you to do read and do chapter 3.2, and then figure out how to reverse the list so that the song prints out in the correct order. Think you can do it?
Can you go back to your program, the terminal Python?
Python, okay. That's kind of gone, but
I just wanted the Python 3 P2.py.
yep.
I know which one.
So way back here, there's an example of going backwards. So, but you go ahead. You try that. Let's see, 3.2. 3.2. Okay, so this is the one that I'd like you to do in class. If you haven't already done it. This hasn't been assigned as a homework assignment. Okay. Okay, so this will be review of a lot of the things that we've talked about. Okay? These 50-minute classes are too short to have you do the readings in class. Yeah. She loves you? Yeah. Okay, maybe we should do that so that we make sure we get it in before the end of class. I know you do. I know you do. Okay. Here's your odometer. And 0, 0. And as your odometer turns, it's going to go 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 6, 0, 7, 0, 8, 0, 9, 1, 0. Right? That's how odometers work? Okay. So the song goes, she loves you. Yeah. 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 And then it goes again. The same thing. And then it goes one more time.
Yep.
Okay. So let's think of this as an odometer. And our odometer only has two places. They both start at 0, 0. And let me map out the values. So 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. Okay, so now this digit is she loves you. So this is she loves you. And this digit is yeah. So these are all zeros, right? So that's your first she loves you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's your second she loves you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And here's the third she loves you. These are all twos. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay? So this is an example of a loop inside of a loop. All right, let's go here. So a loop inside of a loop is 4, and then there's going to be another 4. That's the loop inside of a loop. Tell me what you have.
I have I have assigned values to things first. So
Okay.
I equals, and then in parentheses, 1, 2, 3, and then x equals 4, 5, 6, and then underneath that I have for I in range 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then return.
Okay. I think you worked way too hard.
I worked way too hard.
You worked way too hard.
It's just all on one big line.
Well, then you're very, very close to making it all work. But let's take a look at it a different way. So let me go to, so go anywhere, go someplace where you want, like your home directory. And code space Beatles.py. And that's why you have to create the file first. Say echo greater than Beatles.py. And then you can say code Beatles.py. All right, let me bring that back up. So you can create an empty file using this statement, and then you can edit it. So let's see what happens for she loves you in range 3. So what do you think this will do?
When do she loves you?
What?
When they go, she loves you, because you know, and
It'll print she loves you is in one string, and there is no end, which means it'll do a new line.
oh,
Okay, so let's try that. Let's run this. Python 3 Beatles. There. You get that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent. So whatever happens now for the yeah, yeah, yeah comes here. For yeah, 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 yeah in range 3. Print Okay, what do you think will happen here? This is going to be closer, but it's not going to be quite right. Let's see what that does. So each time you see she loves you, that's the outer loop ticking over. So that's the tens digit on your odometer. Then ones digit, ones digit, ones digit, tens digit, ones digit, ones digit, ones digit, tens digit. Okay, so outer loop, inner, outer, inner, outer, inner. So we've got the basic construction there.
And I was getting that, which is why I assigned values and then I got all of the line.
Okay,
And then I couldn't figure out how to get to break up the
so where do we want new lines and where do we not want new lines?
line after the third, yeah.
Okay, so Ian, do you remember how to do the end equals?
Yeah, it's after space END equals then double quotes, double quotes.
Okay, or single quote, single quote. All right, well, we made a change. Let's see what that does. That's one change. Okay, so we made progress. We got the first yeah on the same line. We need a space. So I'll just put a space here. I made a change. Let's test again. Write a little, test a little. So I got, she loves you, yeah. All right. Now, how can we make no line breaks here? Same thing, right? So now we'll get all the yeahs on the same line. True? But now we've got too much of a good thing. I think we're going to get something that Catherine got.
Yes, that's what was happening.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Now, how do we fix it? Well, let's get a space after the in between the yeahs, okay? That one's easy. We just put a space there. I changed it. Let's test it again. That's a lot more readable. Okay, now you can fix this with the addition of one more line. Where to put it and what is it? One more line. 7 characters. There's another hint. The addition of another 7 characters to make this work. So you gotta say, what are those 7 characters? Not including white space? And where do you put them? Come on. I'll tell you what, you've got the code, experiment. What is it that we want that we're missing? Right now it's printing all on one line, so what are we missing? New lines? How do you get a new line? That's using the end along with something else, but how do we get a new line just by itself? We'll print it out. Remember? 7 characters, begins with a P. Rhymes with Flint.
Print.
Print, and then what else? Okay, so that makes 5, 7 letters. Where print, parenthesis, parenthesis, makes a new line. New lines are what we're missing here. Where to put it.
So you put it after.
Try it. If it's in the wrong place, you'll know. I will try it. Okay. Maybe you could work it out mentally. Is this too small for the back of the room? Make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So my claim is all you're missing without white space is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got that right. Okay. What if you put it on line 1? Is that right? What would that do? It was on line 1. It would print a new line, and then she loves you, yeah, all on one line. Okay. What if you put it, so that was before line 2. What if you put it before line 3? What would that do? So think about what that would mean. If it were between lines 2 and 3, it means once through the outer loop, it'll print a new line. That sounds kind of good. So let's try it there. Let's try it and see what we get. Well, we got she loves you, yeah. But it's kind of strange. It's not exactly what we want, but it's closer. We got a new line at the top, and then the program finishes and the prompt is on the same line as the last line of the output. Okay. What would happen if we moved it? Okay, it doesn't work there. Let's move it one line down. Now what? Okay, so the first line's broken and the second line is, they're all broken. Okay, so what's going on there? She loves you, new line, yeah. She loves you, new line, yeah. Okay. Well, what if we put it here? Okay, try that. Tell me what you get. Oops, I see a red line. What's wrong now? Indentation. Right. Okay. Let's try that. That's not so good either. Okay, fine. One more choice. Maybe. There. I'll put it here. That has to be right, right? And that's not right either. So what the hell? So I'm going to leave you here. We tried it everywhere. Or have we? What does lines 4, 5, and 6 do? It prints, yeah, new line, yeah, new line, yeah, new line. What do you want it to do? Print, yeah, new line. So, what do you need to change?
Say you just need to remove the indent.
Exactly.
The indent.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
All right, you ready? Whoops, that was overwhelming, underwhelming. Yeah. So now the last new line is not part of the inner loop. It's part of the outer loop. Let's try it again. Perfect. What do you think?
No, I'm mad because it's been I did that last night.
Yeah. But the good news is, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You're a better person for it. But now I want to challenge you. Let's talk this through. We won't maybe not have enough time. How would you add those commas in so that there would be a comma after this one and this one, but not that one?
But another loop inside of the loop.
Well, let's just add a comma and see what happens. That's going to put a comma after all three. So that's not the answer. Tell you what, let's do where? Let's focus in on something. Sometimes the comma needs to be there, and sometimes it doesn't. So, like, if it's one spot, do it, but if it's another spot, don't do it. What word did I just use there? If. Okay.
If and then like on this.
Let me give you an idea. I'll put this in. This is not part of the solution. Okay, let's put that in. See what we get. But I'm doing this to give you an idea. Okay, so now what can you key in on with the if statement? Okay. Let me get it so that we can see both the source code and the output. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So you want an if statement. What would that if statement be testing? Okay. Look at the output. You see what yeah is doing? It's counting. See? It's counting. There it is. 0, 1, and 2. So if you're the 0th one, you want a comma. If you're the 1th one, you want a comma. But if you're the 2th one, you don't. So how can you express that as an if statement? Think simple. It's just an if statement. And you're looking at, all right, I'm going to get rid of this. All right. So how about this? If, yeah. What? So for 0, I want a comma. For 1, I want a comma. For 2, I don't want a comma.
Yeah, it's less than 3. 2.
Right. If yeah is less than 2, print, yep, comma, with end equals that. Okay, and now we got to pretty it up, take a space out of there, and add the space over there. All right, let's see if it works. Ow! Kaplooey! What did I do? Oops. What did I do? Yes, that's right. Okay, let's try it again. Look at that. All right, now look at the code. Understand the code. I have some volunteers to talk through the code. Actually, you are all volunteered to talk through the code. So, how does it work? What's the idea? If you were to write comments for this algorithm, what would you say?
I'm getting
Yes?
oh,
Yep.
You're getting a syntax error. That's what I got.
I see the code.
I know.
Okay, and which line did it say the syntax error was on?
The free A.
Oh, yeah, I see it. You're missing one character. So what introduces the start of any code block? So what happens if statements and look at the end. Look at the end of line 2 and the end of line 4, the end of line 6.
Oh, quotes?
Quotes?
Not the quotes. I meant, I can't remember what it's called.
Colon.
Colon.
Yeah. All right, well, this has been fun. Why don't we come up with some other song lyric that has this kind of thing in it? Huh? You're still getting?
Yeah, I'm still getting a syntax error. The code's
On line 4. Okay. Oh, well, now you're missing one character from that one.
Okay. All right, let me see here. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
so much easier than making it.
What's that?
I said, welcome to coding.
Yeah. So what happens usually when you learn something new? It's like you get a shiny new hammer, and then you got to whack it. So we learned about lists, and then we learned about lists. Yeah. So always boil the problems down to their simplest state. All right. So it sounds like we could use some practice on for loops.
Yeah.
All right. So forget about what's in the lessons. Let's do. I'll assign something. Ooh, I know. This will be a challenge. Why don't we make this, I'll write this up and why don't we make this our first graded project? Okay? I'll write it up, but here's what you're gonna do. What does this look like? What does that look like I'm doing here? You have the numbers 1 through 10 here, and then some spaces. The numbers 1 through 10 here, and what's inside? It's a times table. Okay? So write a program, you know how. This is kind of like it. Everything you learned in that program can also, with the addition of multiplication, will also give you a times table. So your first graded project is to print a times table. Okay? And today is Friday. We'll make it due on Friday, next week. Okay? And it's got to be pretty. Okay? So I'll write it up and put it online, but that's your assignment. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost exactly this, except not with She Loves You. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. Now, if you're mathematically inclined and you want to do it with logarithms or something, knock yourselves out. Okay, good. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.